Hi, my name is Erick Gonzales. I'm the CEO of 5D Cancer Services, and my role as CEO is a culmination of 25 years helping battle cancer, which affects 1 in 4 people. The opportunity to make a substantial impact against the fight against cancer here in the St. George community is an honor and my passion. I am one of 6 siblings. I'm a middle child. My parents are both physicians. My father's a radiologist and a general surgeon. My mom's a gynecologist. We're all 6 kids. We're all almost 1 year apart. We're all Aquarians, so all our birthdays are in late January or early February. So boom, 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 6 in a row. So super close to my family. Family is everything to me. My parents, being physicians, obviously wanted you to become a doctor as well, so I was pre-med. I went to the University of Southern California. I graduated with a biology major. I also played on the USC football team for 2 years. Well, like I mentioned earlier, I have 25 years experience in the cancer therapy market, always on the sales side, but now that I'm an entrepreneur and we started, and I've known Dr. Stevens for 25 years, and once we put the team together and the vision, that's how 5D Cancer Services started. We really wanted to bring access to the latest technology to cancer patients. I lost my mom, my grandma, my brother-in-law to cancer. Both my sisters are cancer survivors, so this really hits home. I'm super passionate about it. And being from the industry, I understand, not clinically like Dr. Stevens, but I understand the advantages of what we're doing and how it can mitigate pain and suffering, not only for the patient, but for their families as well. Well, it's been very challenging. Any startup is challenging, but being 25 years experience in the industry and specifically radiation therapy, we were confident to take the risk, a calculated risk, to dive into new cancer centers. It's super capital intensive, not only the machine, but the building, but cancer's everywhere and it's not going anywhere. And when we're able to offer this type of treatment that potentially, can be as little as 5 days as opposed to 4 to 6 weeks, that really is a driving factor for me. And it just really, again, because it hits home, I just really want to mitigate as much pain and suffering for the patients and their families. This technology, this machine does that. Well, I'm not saying it's going to cure cancer, but it sure is going to definitely mitigate pain and suffering and give them a better quality of life. Out of all the radiation therapy machines in the country, which is a little over 4,000, there's only probably 25 of these machines throughout the U.S. And my vision for 5D Cancer Services is to grow throughout the country, not only nationally but internationally, really provide access to this type of treatment that patients deserve. So I'm looking to grow this company to 20 centers throughout the country in the next 5 to 10 years. Our next potential opportunity with 5D Cancer Services is in Las Vegas. So we're looking to finalize that opportunity in the next couple weeks. And once that happens, that site will be up towards the end of 2026. We're also working with 2 other sites, potentials in the Midwest. I can't say where they're at yet because we're under NDA, but and we're also working with a center, University of Fatima Medical Center in Manila, Philippines. Well, I have Filipino background, and we have some obviously relatives and cousins back there. And Philippines, like St. George, is growing unbelievably right now. And it's unfortunate, even places like the Philippines and Manila, they don't have this type of therapy yet. And this center, my cousins are very close to the CEO and CFO of University of Fatima Medical Center, and they told them what I was doing. And so they're interested in putting one of these machines at they don't have a cancer center yet, they're gonna build one. So we're in negotiations with finalizing that. Well, you know what, first and foremost, we're very good friends. We've known each other for 20 plus years. I have the most respect for him as a person and as a physician. And what I've learned in my industry, radiation oncologists are usually nerdy guys and aren't very open or have good bedside manner to patients, and he's just the opposite. He's great with patients. Patients love him. He doesn't pressure you to go one way or the other. He gives you your options, but just a great physician, great respect for him, and we're like brothers. We know each other so well. Well, St. George, Utah, we knew colleagues that owned this center before, so we were kind of familiar with the center and the success it had previously. And also an advantage for the center, it was already built. They already had the room, the vault where the machine goes. That vault itself cost over $1.5 million. So to find the office space and the growing market that St. George is growing, that's why we made a move to acquire the building and put in the latest technology. Well, you know what? I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I mean, I wish I would have done it earlier. I've always been in sales, working for the big vendors in our industry, and always was a top performer. But once I understood, because I'm selling these to hospitals and CEOs, I understood the business model, their ROI, and I said, geez, if this generates this kind of money, why can't I do it myself? So, you know, I've always had the bug, but once I did it, I mean, it takes a certain type of person to do something like this, because it's stress 24/7, but it's that good stress. I mean, there's something always is going to go wrong, but it was a calculated risk, which I took, and I'm happy I did it. You know, I just really want to talk about our machine. I mean, from what I think, not a clinical standpoint, but, you know, our Akesis Gemini 360 linear accelerator is changing radiation therapy for the better. It's delivering precise, accurate cancer treatments. Because our machine allows continuous imaging throughout the treatment, it allows the physician to adapt or change based on the current anatomy of the day, shrink margins, and possibly reduce treatments. So our machine truly is better for the clinicians, it's better for the patients, it gives the clinicians the confidence to shrink margins, escalate dose, and reduce treatments. It's great for the patients because it gives them treatment options, better treatment outcomes, less toxicity, which means less side effects and a better quality of life. So all in all, it's just a great service line to offer the St. George community. We've been going out there and educating the market, which are the referring physicians, the primary care physicians, the big medical groups. They've all been very interested in welcoming the technology. We've done presentations so they understand it from a clinical value. The benefits are better than what's around here. And all in all, the reception, not only from local people, but physicians, it's very open and looking forward for us to being successful. Well, for certain types of cancers, and you know, if they're early stage, we have the ability to treat in 5 days or less, which is huge, and it's non-invasive, and prostate's one of our biggest service lines that we're going to offer. So people or men that have prostate cancer that fall in the category of not high risk, and Dr. Stevens evaluates them and they're candidates for the 5-day treatment, offering 5 days, non-invasive, no side effects, and have a community like this, destination therapy, or destination golf therapy. I could see guys that have prostate cancer coming here for treatment and golfing the same day. Well, our whole market and industry is heading towards this technology and this treatment, and we're on the forefront. Like I said, all these 4,000 machines are relatively new. So they have to go through their life cycle. I mean, they're $4 or $5 million machines, and hospitals are not just going to rip them out until their end of life. Then they'll bring one of these technologies in. So Dr. Stevens and I saw the future of not only the technology, but of what we call hypo-fractionation, which is less treatments, the 5-day treatment. It's all heading towards that way. And it's exciting to be on the forefront and to offer this throughout the country, because we have a 5 to 10 year window where these machines at these other institutions have to go through its life cycle. Even myself, not being a resident in St. George, coming from Southern California, you think, even when you hear Southern Utah, you don't know exactly how accessible it is. But because we have a possible center in Las Vegas, I found out how easy and accessible it is to come from Las Vegas to St. George. And like you said, from Salt Lake City, people fly down to Cedar City, and it's only 20, 30 minutes to come here. So it's surprisingly accessible to get to St. George. I think the way the city's growing, once the airport catches up to the growth, I think it's just going to make it a lot more accessible. I think therapy for me is just to get out and go golfing, because you're right, being this job, it consumes you 24/7, even on the weekends. And for me, I have one son who's 17, and he's on the golf team. He's an excellent golfer. It used to be fun playing with him, but not anymore. But I get out and just spend quality time with him, 3-4 hours a day. That's my getaway. I mean, I'm limited now because I had 2 ACLs, so I used to be pretty active. I was in a basketball league, but those days are long gone. So I pretty much stick to golf. That's my therapy. Again, we might not cure them, but we're definitely going to make a difference in their life, and I hope that they say that. When my mom passed from cancer, my son was born a month later, so if this technology was around, it wouldn't have saved my mom, but it sure would have given her more time and better quality of life, and she would have met my son. That really is just a killer to me, that she never met my son. And my son asked, call him Lola, how was Lola like? She was awesome. I hope I can make that kind of difference in people's lives and say, hey, no side effects, great quality of life, and I got to experience more, spent quality time with my family. It's my dad. I mean, my dad, is the youngest out of 7 kids, all girls, and he's the youngest boy. And, growing up in the Philippines, they were extremely poor. And he used to tell me all the time that the toys he used to play with is his empty sardine cans that he used to make cars out of. But, and he told me how hard he worked when he was young, and the fact that he pretty much supported his whole family because he lost his father in the war. So it was just his mom and 6 sisters. And he decided to become a doctor. He got a basketball scholarship to the University of Santo Tomas, which is the big medical school in Manila. And he's tall for an Asian guy. I mean, he's only 6'2", but back then that's tall. But he got a basketball scholarship, and he's a great athlete. But just what he's accomplished, not only professionally, but as a father, and now as a great friend, and he's just so proud of what I'm doing, and he couldn't believe it, because I was always, like I said, top performer at all my companies, and when I told him I'm quitting and starting my own company, he called every one of my siblings and said, "What is wrong with Erick? Is he crazy?" And my brothers and sisters said, "He knows what he's doing, Dad. He knows what he's doing." So my dad still practices. He's 85, and we're going on he's taking the whole family, all the siblings and the kids, on a cruise this June. So it's going to be the whole gang. So.